And another good practice is to talk to your employees. Have conversations with them and ask them about their interests and about their career goals. Because if you can line up the tasks that you need to assign with not only their capabilities, but also line up with the direction that they want to go, that's going to be a win-win situation. It's going to help you achieve your company's goals, and it's going to help that employee to be able to reach their personal goals and fulfill their career aspirations. Okay, so first step, let's talk about documenting critical knowledge. One of the best ways to ensure a smooth transition is to have your employees document their key processes. This helps future team members step in with minimal disruption. When I say documenting your key processes, this is three things. One, it's the things that are laid out in the key responsibilities that they do for their job. But just as important is number two, the things that they do on autopilot every day, things that they don't even realize they're doing that they do. And third, best practices or lessons learned. It's time to stop recreating the wheel, and it's time to start minimizing the mismanagement of time. So, again, the three tips that you want to remember for today is that you want a clear and consistent SOP template. You want to, two, use visuals. And when I say visuals, remember that we're in a day and an age where video is available. It is so easy to use Loom or some other app where you allow someone to have access to see what you're doing on your screen and you're able to record it. A recorded video and a written document are my favorite forms of SOPs. And then you need to remember that it's a living document and it's going to change over time. It's not going to remain. So today's actionable strategy is I want you to look at the SOPs that you have in place, and I want you to set a reminder on your calendar 6 months from now to review those. I want you to set a reminder on your calendar every 6 months that SOPs need to be reviewed. Remember, these are living documents and they're going to change. Also, note that if things change in the corporation, in the work process and how things are done, you don't wait until that 6 month mark. You go ahead and get it done now. All right. So in order to maintain productivity and customer service during employee turnover and hiring gaps, you want to make sure that you're cross-training your team. You want to make sure that you're leveraging your systems and automations, and you want to make sure that you're maintaining proactive communication. So again, your three steps are you want to make sure that you are doing skills assessments, you're observing your team while they're in action, and you're having one-on-one conversations. These are going to help you to ensure that you are able to assess your employee strengths and align them with the right task. Remember, we're here to make sure that you have the right people doing the right task, the right. So in order to maintain productivity and customer service during employee turnover and hiring gaps, you want to make sure that you're cross-training your team. You want to make sure that you're leveraging your systems and automations, and you want to make sure that you're maintaining proactive communication. So let's talk about the three tips that I want to share with you today. First, you want to make sure that you have a centralized onboarding system. You want to make sure that the trainings are easy to access and that the checklists are clear. There's a clear path from day one forward. Okay. So I told you, like when I started with the education and training, they just said, here's a checklist and go do some stuff. But when I came into the IRS initially, they had things set up for the first 2.5 years. You knew exactly what you were doing for the first 2.5 years, whether you were going away to a training class, whether you were working in your local office, whether you were doing some online training, whether you were in workshops, it was all spelled out for the first 2.5 years of your service. You want to make sure that you have a process that's similar for your employees. What do I mean by that? I mean that you need to have people who are able to be discerning. They need to be people who understand the dependencies on how things work together because everything may not be in the SOP. They need to be able to know how one task talks to another task, how one department should interact with another department. So even if it is not written out, displayed, told to them who should have access, they'll be able to know and be able to share the information with people as needed. So they'll be able to open the gates so that people can have access to what they need. The basis of this is strong SOPs, cross training, making sure you have at least two people who can do every task from beginning to end. Because again, with step three, you want to make sure that you are cross training. You want to make sure that during the periods where things get a little bit slow, or you have a little free time, or in the time where there's a lot of flux and there's no such thing, you got to create it. So you want to make sure that you have multiple people that can do each task from beginning to end, that are always ready to step in when needed. Once you implement these strategies, you're able to prioritize those core tasks, you're able to determine who can do what, and you're able to better cross-train across your organization so you have a better group of people who are more multiple skill talented to be able to do all of the things. Then you're going to be able to maintain your productivity even while things may be going on in the world. Okay, it's kind of like when I went to the dentist and she said, "You have a cavity." And I said, "I have a who?" And she said, "You have a cavity." And I said, "But there's no pain." And she said, "By the time you have pain, it's too late. At that point, you're looking at some serious damage. You may even need a root canal." And I said, "Okay, well, let's fix this here bad boy." It's the same thing with your corporation, with your business. In by the time you start to feel the pain, sometimes that can be a little too late, but it's definitely going to require a whole lot more to get on track. Because guess what happens when you do your job well? You're going to need to hire on. And if you have not written down what needs to be done, if you're not familiar with how you do everything you do, how are you going to, one, be able to know who you need to hire? How are you going to hire the right person? Aren't you tired of hiring a virtual assistant over and over again? And it's not the virtual assistant, it's because you don't have the SOPs in place. It's because you're not sharing with them what's in your head, but you're expecting them to read your mind. All right. And so when you don't have both of those things, now imagine a situation where you don't have SOPs, nor do you have knowledge management and the right workforce, then you're definitely headed for ruin because you're not going to be able to do any of the things that March is Women Empowerment Month, Women's History Month. I choose to call it Women's Empowerment Month. And why not show that you care? Sharing is caring. So share this